What is the first thing you notice when looking at the cover of Playboi Carti's 2018 album, Die Lit? Or rather, who is the first person you see? Your eye might immediately be drawn to Carti himself. This is, of course, his album, and that middle finger front flip is iconic. Or maybe you're captivated by the eye-catching Mohawk girl, as fans have dubbed her. But for me, I can't help but look at this guy, because he's looking back at me. In this candid photo, where no one else is looking at, let alone acknowledging the presence of a camera, this guy is staring right down the lens. It's almost fourth wall breaking, as if he knows something that the others don't, or foresees the cultural impact that this very image will have. Not only that, but he also stands out for his appearance. The others in this photo embody the young, wild and chaotic punk aesthetic that the photographer wanted to capture with their eccentric looks. But Beard Guy doesn't really fit the bill. His eyes are wise, his hair and beard mature, and he comes off as calm, unassuming and modest. Pretty much the opposite of punk. He looks both out of place, yet at home at the same time, only adding to my intrigue. But by far the most mysterious thing about this guy is that no one knows who he is. Shout out to this guy whose face I always just stared at while listening to Die Lit and looking at the cover. I don't know why, but this guy on the Die Lit cover always stood out to me. I wonder what he's doing now. Is this not Dave Grohl on the Die Lit cover? I always thought he looked like Hikaru Nakamura, Steve Wozniak, Post Malone, Will Riker. We gotta find this Dave Grohl looking motherfucker once and for all. With Die Lit being streamed more than 3 billion times on Spotify alone, and this guy's face presumably being seen during every single one of those streams, he is arguably the most famous person in modern hip-hop that nobody knows. A nameless icon. But I'm determined to change that, once and for all identifying Beard Guy, and hopefully having a conversation with him, because the world deserves to know his name. In many ways, there's an interesting dichotomy between Playboi Carti and Beard Guy. In recent years, Carti has methodically branded himself as a man of mystery, with rare public appearances and cryptic messaging all contributing to his quote-unquote aura. Conversely, Beard Guy is mysterious by design, due to his anonymity. Outside of the album cover, the RIP music video and some rare behind the scenes content, Beard Guy has no real online presence tied to Die Lit, and because of this, as far as I can tell, no one has been able to find him before. Until today. I started my researching journey, as most do, on Google, conducting some advanced searches to try and find our guy. Maybe I wasn't searching the right things, or maybe I was in the wrong place. Whatever the case, I didn't find anything of note, so I decided to look elsewhere. As I mentioned earlier, one of the other prominent figures on the Die Lit cover is Mohawk Girl, and I thought she might be able to give me some clues as to Beard Guy's identity. So I navigated to her TikTok account and managed to find a video where she briefly mentioned meeting him. An encounter that seems like gold dust at this point. Although Mohawk Girl wasn't able to give us any clues as to who he is, she did comment on how nice he was.
And of course him. People think he's like some guy named Dave, some singer, but he's not. But he was just so sweet and so quiet. So I couldn't talk to him because he was like very quiet and very sweet.
Honestly, I'd expect nothing less from our mystery man. After a little more research, I came across Mohawk Girl's modelling agency, The Firm, and figured that the Die Lit casting director might have hired multiple extras from that same company, one of which could be Beard Guy. After looking through the firm's roster of male models, I came across a couple of people who bared a resemblance to our mystery man, namely Benjamin Monahan and Abai Walia, but after further inspection, I decided that neither of them were the guy. I then turned to Internet Archive website The Wayback Machine, figuring that Beard Guy might have previously been a member of the agency and had left. But again, nothing. With no luck so far, I turned my attention to Beard Guy's face, using Google's image search tool to try and find him. Even though this just returned a load of images of the Die Lit cover, it gave me the idea to use a more powerful image search tool. In fact, I used 2 of them. Although these websites are legal, they are powerful to the point that they can be misused, so I won't name them here. And obviously, I do not condone using image search tools to try and find pictures of someone, unless they have provided their express consent. I know that's hypocritical coming from me, but once I'd found Beard Guy, I was planning to reach out to him for permission to use his face and name in this video. If he said no, I would not include those details. My search on the websites that shall not be named gave me these images. Was this our guy? I mean, it certainly looked like him, and 2 different image search tools have brought me to the same face. Surely it had to be. But this wasn't absolute confirmation, and I still didn't know his name. So, I paid a little bit of money to one of the image search websites to gain access to the image sources. This took me to a Russian website, where I found an interesting movie poster. Andy Somebody, a 2023 action comedy movie about a depressed accountant who steals $3 million and flees to LA. And on that poster, Beard Guy? I desperately scrambled to Google, hurriedly searched for the movie on IMDb, navigated to the cast until Franco Marcano. We had his name, but I still wasn't 100% convinced. All signs pointed to this Franco guy, but there wasn't any concrete evidence that it was him. So I rushed back to Google to type his name, found a link to his Instagram, clicked it, and there it was. On the cover of the new album of Playboi Carti, check out the song and video. Franco Marcano, May 24th, 2018. The post had a mere 45 likes, most of which were likely from Franco's friends, family and colleagues. Outside of this very small circle of people, many of whom are probably unaware of Playboi Carti and the cultural impact that the Die Lit cover has, no one knows that Franco is the iconic Beard Guy. Until now, I guess. But this wasn't where my journey ended, as I still wanted to reach out to Franco and secure an interview. To do so, I signed up for an IMDb Pro account, allowing me to have access to Franco's management information. From here, I found that he is represented by Step Forward Entertainment and reached out to his manager, Jackie. In an email, I detailed everything that Jackie needed to know about this video and why I was making it, doing my best to convince her that an interview would be beneficial to Franco. And sure enough, the very next day, she got back to me, claiming that she would forward my email on to the man now formerly known as Beard Guy. For the next week, I waited, anxiously anticipating an email from Franco that hopefully expressed his willingness to speak to me. But it never came, so I decided to follow up on my initial email. And once again, the following day, I got a reply from Jackie, explaining that she was on a busy trip in New York City and that she would forward my email on once more. This reply should have put my worries at ease, but instead, I grew more anxious. It seemed that after I'd initially reached out, Jackie had sent my email on to Franco, but he hadn't got back to me. Maybe he didn't remember shooting for Playboi Carti, or worse still, didn't want to talk about it. Maybe he was interested, but after looking at my YouTube channel, could think of nothing worse than talking to me. All of these concerns ran rampant in my mind. But they were put at ease when, less than an hour later, I received this. Hey man, how are you? My agent sent me your email about some music video I did a long time ago. How can I help you? I was elated. Weeks of hard work, research and cold emails had led to this, a reply from the one and only Beard Guy. The way that Franco had worded his email confirmed my suspicions. He was as cool as I had imagined. He seemed nonchalant about the work he had done with Playboi Carti, and I expected no less from a man who, as I described him earlier, looked calm, unassuming and modest. But my excitement presented a new problem. How on earth was I going to reply to this guy? For years now, I'd been curious about Beard Guy's true identity, and when I finally found out who he was and was in direct contact with him, I felt flustered. Over the next couple of hours, I did my best to put together a response that was an equal parts enticing as it was blasé. I wanted to convince Franco to sit down with me, but I didn't want to come across as desperate and scare him off. Finally, as afternoon became evening, my email was finished, and nervously I hit send. 2 agonising days passed until, on Saturday the 13th of July, I woke up to this. Hello Cameron, yes, I'm interested in the interview. Let me know more about it. My excitement was immeasurable, and my day was made. Over the coming weeks, Franco and I would go back and forth over email and then WhatsApp, struggling to earmark a date in the diary for the interview. Until, on Tuesday the 20th of August, this happened. Franco, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you so much for taking the time, obviously. I know you've been really busy recently. So I really appreciate you taking the time, obviously, like I say. It's been a bit of a struggle getting this organised, but I'm thankful you're here. It's great for you to take the time.
Thank you, man. Sorry,
so
thank you for your patience, man.
No, man, no worries. Yeah, it's not a problem. I understand how busy it can be, obviously, with like scheduling and stuff. So yeah, no worries, man. Before we get into the interview itself and the questions, I thought it would be useful for my audience if you were to sort of give an introduction to yourself, like maybe like who you are, what you do, that sort of thing. Obviously, I'll wait for you to get your camera sorted. No worries.
Yeah, so man, how you doing? My name is Francisco Marcano. I was born in Cuba. I lived in South America for a while. I do martial arts, so I train back in Venezuela, some kickboxing, and then when I got here, I train some kung fu. I'm also a chef, an actor, a producer. But yeah, been doing a lot of stuff. So I moved to LA back in 2009 to like get more serious about my acting career. And yeah, man, I'm here.
Brilliant, man. Well, thank you so much for that. I didn't realize you did so much, honestly. I mean, I had a look at your like IMDb profile and like your Instagram and stuff. I had no idea you were a chef as well, and did producing work. So yeah, I don't know how you do it. You must be so busy, honestly. Thanks for the introduction. I guess at this point we can move on to the questions. As I mentioned in our messages and emails and stuff, the main focus of this interview is going to be about the work you did for Playboi Carti, so back in 2018. So that's both the album cover for Die Lit and the music video shoot for RAP. Now, I appreciate that was a long time ago now. I understand if you might not remember everything exactly. Whatever you can remember is great. So yeah, we'll get onto the music video in a bit. We'll start with the album cover. Do you remember how you were cast? Were you approached? Did you approach them yourselves? What do you remember from that?
Yeah. It was funny. There's a page here that we use in Los Angeles for acting, for casting calls. It's called a casting networks. So I saw they was like, they need actor for a music video, and I was like, oh great, I love that, I like the rate that they were paying. They don't say nothing about who it was. Like they normally don't tell you it's like going to be a big artist or nothing like that. Sometimes they say something like it's going to be a big artist, but they don't tell you the name or anything like that. So yeah, I showed up to it, and then it was like very, very intense because we were like all dressed in like black. And then it was like a smosh pitch, kind of like we all like fighting to each other with this sun. And yeah, it was pretty intense. It was like a lot of hours just running around, pushing each other, and like almost like in a fight. And I was one of the tallest guys there, so I was like getting more of everybody, like pushing around away from me. And then yeah, man, it was amazing. And then later on, this Cardi came in after we chewed the whole thing, and then he came to chew on our parts by the end of the day. Yeah
Cool, yeah. I mean, I could tell from the photos and the videos that you're obviously the tallest one there. You definitely stand out. And that's one of the reasons why I'm talking to you today, because obviously you stand up so much. And for the first part of that, which was the album cover, like you say, the casting call said it was a music video. Did you know there was an album cover shoot as well, or what were you told?
No, I got no idea about that. Like later on, I got the cover, right? I saw it, and then I posted on my Instagram. All my friends like, "Wow, like really? That you were with Cardi?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was a music video." And then everybody was like, "Wow!" Everybody was so impressed about it, and it was like, "Oh wow!" It was so kind of lucky too, because normally you don't expect to like be in a cover all that, and they don't say anything about it. Also in the information of the thing, so yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, like when you were actually shooting the album cover, obviously you didn't know before that's what you were doing, but like even at the time, did they say?
No, we didn't know anything about it. I don't think. Yeah, like a left layer, I thought it was actually just a music video, stuff like that, and then we see ourselves later in the core, and so I think everybody was like really wonder about like, wow, like how that happened.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I've got a clip of the music video here, and you can see yourself at the end coming in with an elbow. There you go. Like obviously, from my perspective, watching that back, obviously I don't know what it was like there at the time. I think you've sort of described it a little bit, but it was quite chaotic by the looks of it, and quite violent as well. I noticed like in some of the shots you were sort of like taking like a back step, you were like in the background, and in the music video itself you weren't like as prominent as you were on the album cover. I can imagine like being like a big guy like yourself, you wouldn't want to get involved in such like a massive mosh pit for fear of hurting people, I guess. What was that like the chaos of it all?
I kind of enjoyed it, like because I was kind of like the bigger guy, and actually I was like really working out at the time, so I feel like I don't know, like a superhero or something. It was like pushing people, whoever was coming to me, I was pushing it away, and then it was like it was good. Like I never been in such a like intense. I mean, it was like, there was a lot of big guys too. Like I was taller, but they all were also like muscular guys and stuff like that. So it was kind of like fun, and then we like kind of like it was safe too, so like we never fall on the floor anytime or anything like that, so we was pretty aware of what we're doing, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it must be amazing to like go back and be able to watch back that experience in the form of a music video, and also the album cover itself. Like having the benefit of seeing, reliving that experience must be pretty cool. So on to Playboi Carti himself. Obviously, like we said, he came along later in the day for the music video, which obviously I just showed you the clip of. Did you know who he was before the shoot itself? Were you aware of him at the time, or did you not know who he was?
No, at the time, like I was not a big follower of like any rappers like that, besides the most popular ones, and where I, because I grew up in South America, so we grew up with like Tupac, Big D, all that stuff, so all the rappers they was pretty already famous here, I didn't know them. So yeah, everybody was telling me about, telling me his name, and I was like, oh yeah. So I had to actually Google him to see his song because I don't really know who he was. And then also when my friends started hitting me out like, oh wow, you're in this guy like cover and stuff, I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, so yeah, he's a big guy, because before that I didn't know him, and then after that I realized that he was actually super big in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine like if you did know who he was beforehand, it must have been, well, it could have been more daunting going into that, like knowing who this famous superstar is and then going to shoot a music video with them would be more daunting. But I guess the benefit you had of not knowing who it was, you could just turn up on the day and you didn't have to worry so much about it and how you would come across, I guess. On to sort of the reception now. obviously we touched on the fact that you weren't aware of Playboi Carti at the time of the music video shoot and the album cover shoot. I'm assuming you're more aware of him now, I'm guessing, like through friends. Do you listen to his music at all, like just out of interest?
I listened to some of his songs now, and like I really like them. I think like I wish I knew about him before too, because I have a really good popular songs also, like that I really like. So man, I think I definitely will listen. I start listening more to his stuff after the music video.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the reason I bring that up is obviously 2018, as I keep stressing, was quite a long time ago now. And as such, he, as an artist, has grown quite significantly since, both in sound and the amount of listeners he has. I'll show you some statistics here quickly. So back in 2018, this is May sort of time, so around the sort of time that you shot the album cover and music video, he had just under 5 million monthly listeners. So that's how many people are listening to him per month. So obviously wasn't a small artist at the time, but maybe not big enough that everyone knows about him, and maybe not necessarily mainstream. But now, this is about a week ago, he has about 43 million monthly listeners. So like I say, he's grown quite massively since. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's quite interesting to revisit the album itself and also the people that were on it, such as yourself, because it's been such a long time and so much has happened since. Not only has he changed as an artist and grown, so have the people on the cover. Do you want to talk about maybe, what's changed for you since 2018?
Yeah, a lot of change. Like 2018, I started like working a lot. In 2018, I was like booking a lot of jobs. I did like a Dr. Pepper national commercial, did JCPenney, and I was getting like back-to-back work. And then started the COVID-19 in 2020. So that kind of like messed up a lot of actors' career for a little bit, because some people, they didn't want to get vaccinated, so they wasn't allowed to work on set, or people did and then they was allowed to work. So a lot of things happened during that time, but there was also not so much work until like maybe like last year that they start like kind of like opening it up again for like acting and stuff. So yeah, I think I focused on the 2020. I finished my film. It's called Contract Lovers. It's in Amazon Prime. It's about like a contract killer that he was back in the day in the military, and then he lost his wife and he's kind of lost his mind too. So I focused in my film, and then I finished it. I did I was in a lot of festivals. I was in Las Vegas Film Festival, Marina Red Film Festival. So yeah, I was in after the film festival. So I was just doing pretty well, during the pandemic too, because I was kind of focusing on my projects. And yeah, man, I think things are going back up again, and I have a couple projects this year that I work on. They're coming out. They're pretty good. One's called The Workout. It's like an action film. That's a pretty good one. I did also one that's called Andy Somebody. I'm also one of the lead actors. And actually that also came out like in 2022, I think. So yeah, I get a couple good stuff after that music video. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear it's going well for you, especially after the pandemic. Obviously, I can't imagine being in the film industry how much of an impact that would have had. Back in 2020, 2021, I was hearing stories about productions being shut down, for 2 weeks because someone's got COVID, and then it starts back up again, and then someone else gets COVID, and it just sounded like an absolute nightmare. Obviously, I touched on some of the statistics there about how Playboi Carti has changed since 2018 and grown. One of the other stats that I have as well is that the album, so Die Lit, obviously, that we've talked about, you're featured on the cover for, that now has more than 3 billion streams. That's billion with a B, by the way, not million. So it's a crazy amount of streams. And the reason I bring that up is because I kind of figure that because that album's been streamed so many times, your face has been seen so many times because you're on the cover. And I sort of mentioned this again in our emails back and forth. A lot of people have been speculating over who you are, because you haven't really talked about it all that much. And they've also been pointing out lookalikes as well. Have you seen any of this talk online about who you are at all to do with the
Not
cover?
at all. Like when you told me that, like my agent just reached out to me and they're like, "Oh, this person wanna talk to you about some music video that you did." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, and then I saw your email and you told me about all these people. Like, you told me about all the views and all this stuff and people speculating about me. I'm like, wow. I was like totally unaware of that. Like, I don't really realize how powerful, an artist in a music video could be, because I always did music video, but I never realized because everybody say like, "Oh no, a music video is not really going to do nothing for you as an artist," and I think it could do something because it's a lot of exposure, and now that I talk to you, I realize that I should keep doing it because you never know what could happen.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, people have been speculating over who you are, pointing out your lookalikes. I've actually got some to show you here. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen once more. So we've got this one here. Both of these posts are on Reddit. They've got a couple of thousand upvotes a piece. So obviously people are talking about this. One of them says, "I don't know why, but this guy on the Die Lit cover has always stood out to me. I wonder what he's doing now." And obviously through this call, you've sort of given an update on that, which is great. And the other guy says, "Shout out to this guy whose face I've always just stared at while listening to Die Lit, just looking at the cover." So yeah, people are just picking up on the fact that you're just, one of the things I talk about in this sort of YouTube documentary that I'm putting together is the fact that in this sort of candid photo, if you like, the Die Lit cover, no one else is really looking at the camera other than you. So I think because you're looking directly down the lens, it sort of means that you stand out a bit more, and that's maybe why people have sort of picked up on that. I've got a couple more here. These are the sort of lookalikes. So this one's Dave Grohl, who's obviously a musician in his own right. So we've got to find this guy once and for all. To this day, I have no idea what Dave Grohl was doing on the Die Lit cover. And some people actually genuinely think that you are Dave Grohl, which I think is kind of interesting. Maybe that speaks a bit more on the IQ of the Playboi Carti Reddit. But again, these posts sort of getting, this one in the middle's got 4,000 likes on Twitter. This comment here has got 1,800 upvotes on Reddit, and that's in a comment section as well. So yeah, a lot of chatter about it.
You definitely have to send me those so I can comment on them. Like, hey, here I am.
yeah, I will do 100%.
Oh man, that's funny.
We've got some more here. Post Malone, obviously another artist. We've got Hikaru Nakamura. I've probably butchered that name entirely, but he's apparently a chess player. I can sort of see the similarity there, if I'm honest, put together.
Yeah.
Well, there's some of your lookalikes, and some of the speculation about who you are. What do you think of all that?
I think it's amazing, man. Like I say, it's amazing how something can go so viral, and just like one picture, people start like making all these different memes and all this stuff, and like, yeah, I think it's amazing. I'm actually happy that you reached out to me, because if you don't, I would never know about all this stuff. I was like totally unaware of like all this, and then now I really want to look into more and see all the stuff that people are saying.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So many people talking about you. If it was me, then I'd want to know more as well. Yeah, I think one of the reasons that people have been speculating about who you are, obviously I said about the fact that you're looking directly down the camera lens, so you sort of stand out. But I think another reason is because you haven't really talked about it online. Some of the other people featured on the cover have made a few like social media posts and TikToks about it. But you haven't really done that outside of one post that I saw that you made I think it was at the time that you shot the cover on Instagram. So yeah, you made that post at the time, but you haven't really talked about it since. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons because I was not aware of it, and then I haven't really post so much in social media. Sometimes like I'm not like that active on social media like I should be, because I get a lot content from like a lot of stuff that I've done that I can be posting all the time. But I guess I'm not really approaching it like I should be. But yeah, definitely. I think I will do it now more. I realize everything, can just go like viral so fast. I think I definitely should start talking more about my jobs out there and stuff like that, because now everything's a podcast. So everybody, whatever they do, they do something like this and they just talk about it, and it help them to promote whatever job they did. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't been like so active on social media. So
yeah. I mean, I can imagine as well, all the stuff you've been doing, you've been so busy, you've probably not had the time to talk about stuff like that, especially, a music video that you did back in 2018, like that's distant memory now with all the projects you've done since. So yeah, that makes sense. On to the next sort of question then. Outside of like talk online that we've spoken about now and people speculating over you, I'm guessing the answer to this question is no, but have you been recognized for the album cover or the music video shoot in person before, like in real life?
No, not at all. That's probably also one of the reasons I didn't realize, like, like how people was talking about it so much, because I really wasn't recognized on anything like that. Like nobody told me, So, the thing also in my face, sometimes I shave, sometimes I don't. So like now I have long hair in the cover, I think, and when I shoot the music video, it was like short too. So I kind of changed a lot of my face. So I guess people will be like, that it's going to be hard to recognize me for like a picture like that. And also have my eyes like close to on the picture. Like I don't know, for some reason I think I was just like one of the and all the hard pushing, and then they got me in the picture. I don't even know where I was looking that way. It was like. It was funny, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the fact that your eyes were like squinted and your hair's different from what it is now meant that when I was trying to sort of track you down, it was a lot harder. And even when I did find you, I was like, is this guy? He looks so different now. But obviously you are. You made a post about it. You're talking about it now. Thanks so much for your time today. I really, really appreciated it. And I appreciate it's been difficult to organise, but I really appreciate you sticking with me and finding the time. Before we go, is there anything you'd like to promote, any of those projects and where we can find them?
Sure, yeah. Right now, it's coming out, The Workout. It's a film. I have like a really good fighting scene. My friend, he's a big director and producer, James Cullen. So yeah, he just did a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme not too long ago. So yeah, you guys should follow him and check his stuff out. He's a really good director and he's like doing great films right now, and that's one of the ones that's coming. And there's somebody's on Apple TV, Amazon, Google, so you can find it on Tubi, all that. So yeah, it's out there. You guys can find it. Same thing with Control Lovers. Control Lovers only in Amazon Prime right now. But yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I can't stress that enough. But yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it was very nice to meet you.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess I'll sign off then. Nice to meet you, man, honestly.
Nice to meet you, bro. Talk soon. Send me all the stuff from all those information from the music video so I can see it again.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, 100%. All right, cool.
Okay, bye.
When I set out to make this video, my main goal was to identify Beard Guy and have a conversation with him. But halfway through making it, I realised something else, and it's this. Over time, it's easy to forget that the people featured in an iconic image are actually people, with families, jobs, and lives outside of the image. And I know that may sound weird, but hear me out. When I say Mona Lisa, what do you think of? Do you think about the iconic oil painting by Leonardo da Vinci that currently hangs in the Louvre, or Lisa del Giocondo, the subject of that painting? I'm willing to bet that you thought of the first one, because art outlives people. In fact, you've probably never heard of Lisa's full name. I know I hadn't. The Mona Lisa isn't famous for its subject, but what she represents. In the same way, those featured on the cover of Die Lit are best remembered for what they collectively symbolise, not for who they are or were. Photographers strive to capture moments, and there's no doubt that Nick Walker and his team did that with Die Lit, creating an iconic image that captures the essence of the album, portrays the personalities of the people featured, and will live on for years to come. However, to a certain extent, that's rather limiting. A photo only captures one specific moment at one specific time, with the photo subjects at one particular angle. It may well capture those people's personalities within their expressions, and their past experiences through their eyes, but that's their past and present. What about their future? In the same way that Carti has changed massively in the 6 years since Die Lit was released, growing in popularity, changing his musical style, creating his own label and having a child, so have the people pictured. Franco, as he told me, has done so much since that fateful day in 2018. Writing, directing, producing and starring in multiple feature-length films and TV shows, not to mention living and working through a global pandemic. Hopefully, by attributing a name to Beard Guy and allowing him to tell his story, in the eyes of Playboi Carti fans, I've been able to separate Franco from the Die Lit cover. At the very least, I hope the next time you listen to Die Lit, you think about Franco, who he is, and where he is now. With all of that being said, I too, like the photographers, am only capturing a moment with this video, as the future of Franco Marcano is yet to be written. But if you want to remember this moment in the form of art, I've made 3 posters inspired by my journey to find Beard Guy that you can purchase under this video. They may not quite be Mona Lisa level, but I think they're pretty good. And purchasing them will support this channel as well as Franco, as I'll be splitting the profits with him. Thanks for watching.